The vast sea of grass known as the Northern Plains, two strong forces will collide in the 1800s to determine the history of the West. The most powerful native people in what will become Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Montana are the Lakotas. White men call them Sioux. The Lakotas call white men Washichus. Lakota holy man Black Elk tells of first hearing of them as a child.
Everyone was saying that the Washichus were coming, and that they were going to take our country and rub us out, and that we should all have to die fighting.
To die in battle is an honor for Lakota warriors. To show their enemies they have no fear, the Lakotas' war cry is, "It's a good day to die." Their new enemy, United States soldiers. Charged with opening the West and protecting settlers, the soldiers care little about Lakotas. One calls them wild beasts. His name is George Armstrong Custer. On a summer day in 1876, Custer and more than 260 U.S. soldiers will hear the shout, "It's a good day to die," at a place Lakotas call the Greasy Grass. On that day, the Lakotas will win the greatest victory by a native people against the U.S. Army at this place the soldiers know as the Little Bighorn.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. (1776). In the East, American colonists declare their independence from British rule. At the same time, thousands of miles away, Lakota bands first arrive at Pahasapa, the Black Hills.
It's a special place. It's a place of prayer. Our origin legend tells us that when the universe was created, all of the universe was given a song, and that each piece of the universe holds a piece of that song. But the entire song is located only in the Black Hills.
In the 1840s, a child is born in the Black Hills who will grow to become the Lakota's mightiest warrior. Crazy Horse. His cousin Black Elk remembers.
Crazy Horse was a small man among the Lakota, and he was slender and had a thin face, and his eyes looked through things, and he always seemed to be thinking hard about something. They say that when game was scarce and the people were hungry, he would not eat at all. He was a queer man.
My grandparents, from the stories handed down, is that he was an honorable man. He was a good man. And he was looked upon as a wa'ata. A wa'ata is in the English language would probably be a prophet, somebody that could see in the future.
There are no photographs of Crazy Horse, just drawings and memories. He grows up in a time of prosperity for the Lakotas.
There was a great abundance of wildlife. There was a great abundance of natural things that we needed and searched for our mere existence. It was the height of who we were.
By the mid-1800s, 20,000 Lakotas called the Northern Plains home.
The Lakota were a hunter-warrior culture. The rise or the achievement of status in a given society for the male especially was predicated on what kind of deeds he accomplished in the hunt and especially in battle.
The powerful Lakotas force other tribes north and west. At the same time, the young United States is expanding westward. A clash between the two growing nations seems inevitable.
As they see it, the Americans are expanding on the Central Plains, they're expanding on the Northern Plains. The Americans can help them, they can help the Americans, and there are really relatively congenial relations between the two groups until the 1850s when their ambitions conflict.
1848. The seed of that conflict is found here in this quiet California river, and its irresistible color is gold. In the next 10 years, more than 250,000 gold seekers will race west through Lakota lands.
It is the first big episode in a sequence of episodes that ultimately contracted the Lakota land base and the Lakota subsistence base, and in the end produced their final collapse.
Pioneers crossed the plains terrified of Indian attack. Their ideas about Indians are drawn mainly from lurid and sensational stories of kidnapping, massacres, scalpings, and rapes. The diary of one such pioneer, Ann Ellis.
A dreadful fear of Indians was born and grown into me. As a child, I had 3 gripping terrors: starvation, ghosts, and Indians. Long after I had outgrown the fear of not having enough to eat and the fear of a ghostly hand being laid on my shoulder, I still had horrible dreams of trying to hide from Indians. Hundreds of times I've had this dream.
Here in North America, we were either the noble red man or the savage. It was one end of the spectrum to another. There was no middle ground. There was a sense of superiority. Native Americans didn't have the same kind of religion. We didn't live in the same way. We didn't dress in the same way. Obviously, we spoke different languages. All of those differences added up in the European mind as less than. Not simply different, but less than. And they brought that attitude west with them.
People are moving across Indian country, acknowledged by the government to be Indian country. And as Americans move across it, they treat it as if it's simply raw nature. I mean, they will make no hesitation to steal crops, to turn their horses into places where Indians are growing gardens or Indian cornfields.